Do you feel like you're easily overwhelmed by things such as harsh sounds, sirens, strong smells? Do you get rattled when you have a lot to do in a short amount of time? Do you feel like you need to withdraw during busy days and you feel stressed out? Do you feel like you want to spend time in bed or in a darkened room where you can calm down and return to your senses? Do you notice or enjoy delicate scents, sounds? Maybe you appreciate the beauty of life, works of art. Do you have a rich, deep, and complex inner life? When you were a child, did your parents or teachers or friends see you as more sensitive or shy? If this is you, then you are most likely a highly sensitive person. Let me explain. I am a highly sensitive person, and if you're watching this video, chances are you're also a highly sensitive person looking to find your tribe, or you're someone who knows someone who is a highly sensitive person and you would like to learn more about how to communicate with us more effectively. Now, growing up as a child, I felt like I was too much. I felt like I was too sensitive, too emotional, too intense, too deep, and it caused me to feel empty. It caused me to feel like I was hiding myself. I really didn't allow myself to fully step into my power because honestly, I felt like society is not ready to understand what it's like to be so sensitive. Highly sensitive people, Carl Jung actually coined it, innate sensitiveness, are very susceptible to external stimuli. For example, I personally, I can't stand loud noises. I always have to close my ears when an ambulance is passing by. I don't like violent TV shows or series. I can't watch those. I am very sensitive to people's moods and emotions. I feel them in an instant. Sometimes I even feel people's moods before they can actually verbalize them. So, as a highly sensitive person, you are so much more sensitive to external stimuli. And for me, that caused me to feel overwhelmed very often. I felt like I didn't really fit in. I felt like, oh, especially during my teenage years, my classmates, they were, partying and doing all kinds of teenage things. And I was more living inside my own head. My own inner world was very challenging, but also very rich. And I wanted to spend a lot of time there to explore because I was really curious about my inner workings. But that caused me to feel a little bit disconnected from everything that was happening all around me. And whenever I was in conversations with people in big groups, for example, I was really sensitive to their behaviors, subconscious communications, maybe little things they said left and right that I took really personally or that really hit me, and I couldn't let go of those things they said. Like I could think about these things for days and days and days because I was so sensitive to their input, right? And it caused me a great deal of suffering growing up. And I decided to hide this part of my personality for a lot of years, actually, because I felt like people didn't really understand and they often told me that I was too much or too intense. And it really hurt when people said that. So I decided to cover up this sensitive part of myself, numb it down a little bit, hide it. But it made me feel very, very empty inside. And I was living inauthentically. I was not aligned with my true inner core, my authentic self. And it took me a long time to actually come to terms with this innate sensitiveness. Now, I want to share with you the moment where I actually came to terms with this sensitiveness and how it completely changed my life. There was a moment during a 3-day workshop on brain spotting. It's a psychological technique to help you process trauma. There were also live demos with other students, and one of the live demos I attended was with an older woman who decided to go through a live session with the professor. Now, a brain spotting session can be very, very intense. There's parts where you're processing a lot of trauma and it's actually connected to your eye position. So when you look a certain way, a certain direction, you process a lot of trauma. You're organism is actually responding very, very intensely. And then you can switch your eye position and you can look to a spot where you feel more calm. Now it's actually almost as if you're going to battle, right? You're going to battle to fight all your demons, and then you can take a step back and rest. And now this woman, she was really going to battle with herself. Like she was battling, she was so brave, showing up for herself. And then at some point, she also decided to take a step back to rest, to really nurture her inner child, because I could see that she was having a very hard time processing her trauma. Now, I witnessed this and I was so touched by the way she cared for herself, the way she treated herself with respect and an innate knowing of what she was capable of. She was so brave for fighting, but she was also very aware of her own capabilities and her own limits. And after the demo finished, we could give her personal feedback. And I told her that I was so moved by what she did. I was so touched. I actually cried during the demo because I thought it was so beautiful to see her treat herself with so much care and respect. And after the workshop finished, when we were about to go home, she came up to me and she looked me in the eye and she told me, "You are a very sensitive person, aren't you?" And I started crying immediately. Like I didn't understand what was happening to me. And I told her that, "Yes, did you notice that?" And she was like, "Absolutely, I noticed that. The things you said, they prove that you are very, very sensitive and that you can really feel what was going on." And then she went on to say, "I want you to know that this is a superpower." And I couldn't believe what she just said because I felt like it was always something negative. It was always something people considered to be too much or too intense or not good. And the way she said it, it changed everything. I couldn't believe what I just heard. She told me it's a true superpower. And it rang so true. But on the other hand, it was also very hard for me to accept that. And after we went home, I reflected on this a lot. And I started to understand that it actually is a superpower. What you have, your highly sensitive character, is a superpower. There is not many people who actually have the ability to receive so much information from the outer world and actually process it in such a way that it becomes very tangible. You have the ability to emote and to relate with others. You can help them, you can make them feel seen and understood. It is such a powerful quality, and I want you to know that it is nothing to be ashamed of. And I have been there. I felt ashamed of my innate sensitiveness. I have felt ashamed many, many times, but now I don't anymore. I feel proud. I know it is a superpower and I don't try to hide it anymore. I want to let people know that yes, I am very sensitive, but it's a superpower. You can allow yourself to be moved by the world. I love to emote. I love to let myself be moved by nature and music and people and all that is good in life. And you can really help people with this ability. You can feel them, you can sense them, you can make them feel seen and understood, and that is a superpower. You don't have to hide it. You don't have to be ashamed of your sensitivity. You really don't. And that is something I came to realize. And now I'm harnessing that power. I'm really harnessing that power. And I am open about it. I want people to know that, hey, this is who I am. I am a very sensitive person. You don't need to be careful with me. That's not what it is, because I learned a lot of different ways to balance my emotional response, right? I learned to deal with processing the extreme external stimulation that comes in with so much more, with such a higher amplitude, right? There is a signal, and we as highly sensitive people, we receive that signal with a lot higher amplitude, and it affects us a lot more. I can feel so overwhelmed sometimes, but I have tools and techniques that can help me manage all these things. And now, because I have all these tools in my toolbox, I can really harness the power of this innate sensitiveness, because it is a superpower. And once you learn how to balance yourself, how to manage your emotional response to external stimuli, once you learn how to manage this, you can really start to tap into the power that this gift has to offer, because your sensitivity is sacred. It is a gift. It is not a nuisance. It is not a liability. And yes, I know that you have probably struggled a lot with this. I have, but I came to accept it. I came to understand that it truly is a superpower, just like this woman told me. And I felt it. I really felt it. And I felt so energized afterwards. I've never felt so energized after spending so much time with a big group of people as I had then, because all these people are very sensitive people, and they are all using this as their gift. They are all using this as their superpower. People who are psychologists, psychiatrists, helpers, social workers, we are people who relate, emote with others. We want to understand and we empathize. You have such a talent to empathize with others, to feel them. You want to help them. You want to reduce their suffering. And that is a superpower. It is an absolutely beautiful part of your character. And I came to realize this even more after I stepped into my light, after I really started to live this life, to admit to myself that I am a highly sensitive person. And again, I don't necessarily like to think in boxes, but it can be very, very helpful to discover that this is actually part of your personality. And there is a very famous doctor and psychologist who does a lot of research on sensitivity. Her name is Elaine Aron. You can check out her website, hspperson.com, I believe. And you can take a self-test on her website to figure out whether you are a highly sensitive person. The things I describe here, if you relate to those things, you're most likely a highly sensitive person. There's a lot of resources on her website which can teach you a lot more about this. I think it's really important to learn about yourself and to understand, to come to accept that this is a superpower and not a liability, because I know that you have felt like you were a nuisance to so many people because of your sensitivity. I hope I can make you feel that you are not broken. There is nothing wrong with you because you're sensitive. It's actually beautiful. It is, truly is a superpower. And you have to find the right people, right? Some people, they only care about partying and superficial conversations and status and money. Fine. You will never feel at home with these people. I never felt at home with these people. I've looked there. I've done the parties and the superficial hedonistic pleasures. I've done everything. I wanted to find out for myself what worked. I wanted to see if I could hide this part of myself and live a normal life like everyone does. But I really can't. It left me feeling empty inside until I met this woman who showed me the true power of what I have to offer to the world. And it's only the people who can truly see that, who can really appreciate your strengths. So surround yourself with the people who value your sensitivity, because there's a lot of people who don't care about that. Somebody who is only focused on partying and money and status, they will not really want to listen to a beautiful piece of classical music and allow themselves to really be moved by that music, or watch a beautiful flower in nature and be touched by how beautiful it is. That's none of their concern. They are not concerned with this. But I am, and I like that. And there's other people who do too. And those are your tribe. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with. Because you should never feel like a liability because of your character. You really shouldn't. And if you feel like that, I think that you are surrounding yourself with the wrong people. And that changes everything. So find people who resonate with your character. And I am one of those people. I want to connect with other highly sensitive people because I believe that it's really important to share experiences, to learn from one another, and to share resources and tools and ways to deal with the very overwhelming emotions sometimes. And again, it is not a liability. It is not a nuisance. And I know you sometimes felt like that, but you have a superpower in your hands. Harness it. It's absolutely worth it. If you feel like you know someone who might be highly sensitive, or you think that someone might benefit from the information in this video, please feel free to share it it is the highest honor for me to be recommended by you to someone you love. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.